Okay, this video is going to show the second way to stop an indefinite loop, and this one's going to be by user choice. The first one was by stopping it by using a value of an accumulating variable. This one is by the user choice. And so what happens is this is when the loop is controlled by an entry by the user that indicates whether or not he wants to continue. In other words, he says, I want to continue or I want to stop. So when the loop is controlled by an entry by the user that indicates whether or not he wants to continue, the loop control variable then is going to store the user's response. Okay, so we'll see that example here in just a second. The coach says, run until you want to stop. But wouldn't that be a dream, huh? The coach says, run until you want to stop. Now the coach doesn't know how long. How many laps the person's going to run? The person gets to choose when to stop. So here's our example. Now this is basically a template, and so I'm not going to give you an actual program. You're going to have to take what I give you here and then try to apply it to the program that I'm going to give you to finish here in just a second. So let's take a look at this. Right, so in this one we have a variable that's going to be called, we're going to name it response. We're not going to name it count because count is going to increment by 1 usually through the loop, each time through the loop. But this is going to be different. So we're going to name this different so it fits or it's applicable to what's actually going on. So this is just an example of how you can do it. To keep it simple, I'm just going to say int response is assigned 1. So what we want to do is this value here this is the value that we want the user to type when he wants to continue. Okay, I suppose you could even make it so the value that you want the user to type if he wants to stop. It can go either direction. So you start out with 1, and so we're going to make this true, start out as being true. So while the response equals 1, then we'll go through the loop. The loop will be executed. And so of course we want to start with a true Boolean expression. And so you're not going to be using greater than or less than typically. Typically it's just going to be a straight choice. Either the user types 1 or something else. So the user, 1 says, okay, let's go through the loop. So you have statements that you're going to repeat in the program, and then you go system, then you have a prompt here. Enter the 1 to continue, another number to stop. And then the next line, of course, has to read it and then store it in that loop control variable. So if the user wants to start or wants to continue, he'll type a 1. And so if he does that, then response is 1, go back to the loop, and 1 is equal to 1, so it goes to the loop. The user types another 1, I'm going to continue. So the compiler reads it, stores it, goes back to while, and then 1 is equal to 1, so it goes through here. Let's say the user decides I want to stop, so it types a 2. So now 2 is stored in response, and then they go back to the while. 2 is not equal to 1, so the loop is stopped. Alright, so that's basically how it goes. This is the kind of code that you've got to add to a program to make it so that the user can make that choice of when to stop the loop. And so that's it.